Her husband cheated with her best friend while she was undergoing chemotherapy. Yeah. You heard that right. While we were supposed to be celebrating our marriage, let me take you from the very beginning. Her name was Elena. She and her husband had been married for 8 years. They were the kind of couple everyone envied. They traveled together, supported each other's dreams, and always said they were each other's best friend. Elena's best friend since childhood was a girl named Sophia. The three of them often spent time together. Sophia was like a sister to Elena, and her husband treated her like family. Everything changed when Elena was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was only 32 years old. The treatment was aggressive: chemotherapy, surgery, radiation. Her hair fell out. She lost weight. She was constantly exhausted and in pain, but her husband was by her side every step of the way, or at least that's what she believed. During the hardest months of chemotherapy, her husband was incredibly attentive. He drove her to every appointment, held her hand during the infusions, and told her every day how strong she was. Sophia also came to visit often. She brought food, helped around the house, and stayed with Elena when her husband had to work late. Elena was grateful. She thought she had the most supportive husband and the most loyal best friend in the world. But slowly, small things started to feel wrong. Her husband began coming home later than usual. He started taking longer showers right after work. Sophia started visiting even when Elena was too weak to get out of bed. And sometimes she would stay for hours even after Elena had fallen asleep from the medication. One afternoon, Elena came home earlier than expected. The chemotherapy session had been canceled at the last minute because her blood counts were too low. She quietly opened the front door, hoping to surprise her husband and rest in his arms. The house was silent. She walked upstairs toward the bedroom, and the door was slightly ajar. What she saw through that small opening destroyed her more than the cancer ever could. Her husband and her best friend, Sophia, were in bed together. They were completely undressed. He was on top of her. They were moving together slowly, intimately, as if they had done this many times before. Sophia had her arms wrapped around his neck and was whispering his name. Elena stood there in the hallway, still wearing her scarf to hide her bald head, holding the bag with her medications, watching the two people she trusted most in the world betray her while she was fighting for her life. Elena didn't scream. She didn't cry. She simply stood there until they finally noticed her. Her husband's face went pale. Sophia pushed him away and tried to cover herself, her eyes wide with horror. Elena looked at both of them and said only one sentence, her voice barely above a whisper. "How long has this been going on?" But what happened in the minutes and hours after that moment? That was when the real pain began, because her husband and her best friend immediately started explaining, crying, and trying to convince her that it was just a moment of weakness while she was still wearing the scarf that hid the fact that she was losing her hair from chemotherapy. Elena stood in the doorway, still wearing the scarf that hid her bald head from chemotherapy. Her husband quickly pulled away from Sophia and started speaking first, his voice shaking. "Elena, please. This is not what it looks like. We were just talking." Things got emotional. "You've been so sick, and Sophia has been helping me cope with everything. It was a moment of weakness. It will never happen again." Sophia, covering herself with the sheet, began crying immediately. "Elena, I love you. You're my best friend. I would never hurt you on purpose. It just happened. We were both scared for you, and the stress got to us. Please don't make this bigger than it is." They were both looking at her with the same desperate, pleading expression, as if she was the one who needed to calm down and be reasonable. Elena didn't scream. She didn't cry. She simply turned around, walked downstairs, and sat on the couch in silence. Her husband and Sophia followed her, still half-dressed, trying to explain at the same time. They kept repeating the same words. One moment, stress. We love you. Think about your health. The next few days were a blur of manipulation. Her husband stayed at home, bringing her food, holding her hand during chemotherapy sessions, and constantly reminding her how much he loved her. Sofia sent long messages every day. "I'm so ashamed, you're my sister. Please, forgive me. I will never come between you two again." They even suggested family counseling together, the three of them, to heal as a unit for Elena's sake. Her husband told her, "You're fighting cancer. You need all the support you can get. Don't push us away now. We're your family." Elena felt trapped. She was weak from chemotherapy, losing weight, losing hair, and now losing the two people she trusted most. Every time she tried to express her pain, they would gently remind her, "You're very emotional right now because of the treatment. We understand. We're here for you." Her mother and closest friends started getting involved. Her husband had already told them a softer version, that Elena was under a lot of stress from cancer and had misinterpreted a close moment between him and Sofia. Some of her friends even wrote to her, "Elena, maybe you're seeing things that aren't there because of the medication. Mark and Sofia both love you so much. Don't push them away when you need them the most." She felt completely isolated. The cancer was attacking her body, and the betrayal was attacking her mind and heart at the same time. But the hardest moment came 3 weeks later, because that's when Elena discovered the messages between her husband and Sofia that went back almost a year. Messages that proved this wasn't one emotional moment. This had been going on long before her diagnosis, and they had continued even while she was fighting for her life in the hospital. Elena was at home after another chemotherapy session, feeling weak and exhausted. Her husband was at work, and Sofia had offered to come over to help her. While Sofia was in the kitchen making tea, Elena's phone, which was charging on the nightstand, lit up with a notification. It was a message from Sofia's phone. She had accidentally left it unlocked and connected to the same Wi-Fi. Elena opened the chat. What she found was a conversation that went back almost a full year. Long before her cancer diagnosis, long before the chemotherapy, long before she even suspected anything. There were hundreds of messages, photos, voice notes, plans to meet when Elena was at doctor's appointments. Sofia wrote, "I can't stop thinking about last night. Being with you feels so right." Her husband replied, "I feel the same. Elena is so focused on her career and now the treatments. I feel alive only when I'm with you." They had been together for months. They had continued even after Elena's diagnosis. One message from Sofia, sent while Elena was in the hospital after her first round of chemo, read, "She's sleeping now. I can come over for an hour if you want." Elena sat on the edge of the bed, holding Sofia's phone, feeling the room spin around her. When Sofia came back into the room with tea, she saw Elena holding her phone. The color drained from her face. She dropped the cup and started crying immediately. "Elena, please, let me explain. It started long before you got sick. We never meant for it to go this far. We both love you. We were going to stop, I swear." Her husband arrived home 20 minutes later after Sofia called him in panic. He walked into the bedroom, saw Elena sitting with the phone, and immediately fell to his knees. "Baby, I'm so sorry. I was weak. You were so sick, and I felt helpless. Sofia was there for me. It was wrong, but it doesn't change how much I love you." They both sat in front of her, crying, begging, promising it was over, promising they would never see each other again, promising to go to therapy together, anything to keep her from leaving. Elena listened to them without interrupting. When they finally stopped talking, she looked at both of them and asked one quiet question. "How many times did this happen while I was losing my hair and throwing up from chemotherapy?" Neither of them could answer. The silence was louder than any confession. Her husband tried one last time. "Please, you're sick. You need me right now. Don't make any decisions while you're this emotional. We can still be a family." Sofia added through tears, "I'm your best friend. I've been with you through everything. Don't throw away our friendship because of one mistake." But the final chapter of this story came 2 months later, because that's when Elena received the results of a routine blood test. The cancer had spread. Her doctor told her the prognosis was now much more serious. And in that moment, sitting alone in the doctor's office, Elena realized something that changed everything. The two people she had trusted most in the world had not only betrayed her, they had betrayed her at the lowest point of her life. While she was fighting to survive, she had to decide whether she would fight the cancer alone, or keep fighting for a marriage and a friendship that had already died. She had to decide whether she would fight the cancer alone, or keep fighting for a marriage and a friendship that had already died. Elena made her choice. The very next day, she sat her husband and Sofia down in the living room and spoke with a calm she didn't know she still possessed. "I'm not going to fight both the cancer and you two at the same time. I'm filing for divorce. I'm cutting off all contact with both of you. From this moment on, I will focus only on getting better and raising my child if I survive this." Her husband started crying and begged her to reconsider. Sofia tried to hug her, saying, "I'm your best friend. I can't lose you." Elena simply looked at them and said, "You already lost me the moment you chose each other while I was fighting for my life." She changed the locks that same week. She blocked their numbers. She asked her doctor to note in her medical file that her husband and Sofia were not allowed any information about her treatment. The following months were the hardest of her life. The chemotherapy became even more aggressive. She lost all her hair. She lost weight. She spent many nights alone in the hospital, connected to machines, with no one holding her hand, but she was not completely alone. A few true friends stood by her. Her father, who had always been quiet, came to every appointment and sat with her in silence when she was too weak to speak. She focused all her energy on surviving, not for them, but for herself and the child she was carrying. Her husband and Sofia tried everything. They sent flowers, letters, messages, through mutual friends. They even showed up at the hospital once, but the staff turned them away per her instructions. In the end, they told everyone that Elena had pushed them away during her illness, and that they were devastated but respecting her wishes. 6 months after the betrayal, Elena finished her last round of chemotherapy. The doctors told her the cancer was in remission. She was going to live. She gave birth to a healthy baby boy 3 months later. She named him Alone. She raised him with the help of her father and the small circle of friends who never doubted her. She never took her husband back. She never spoke to Sofia again. Her ex-husband still tries to see the child on weekends, but Elena has strict boundaries and supervised visits. She says she no longer feels anger toward them, only pity. She realized that the people who could betray someone at their lowest point were never truly capable of real love. So that's the full story. Every single painful, shocking, heartbreaking detail. A woman wrote to me and asked me to tell her story. While she was fighting cancer, losing her hair and her strength, her husband and her best friend chose to betray her in the worst possible way. They tried to make her feel guilty for not forgiving them. They tried to turn her family against her. They tried to make her believe she was the problem. But she chose herself. She fought the cancer. She protected her child. And she rebuilt her life without the people who tried to break her when she was at her weakest. If you're watching this and you've been betrayed while you were at your most vulnerable, if the people who were supposed to love you chose to hurt you when you needed them the most, just know this. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to choose your own survival. And you will rise stronger than they ever thought possible. You can send your story to my email anytime, and I promise I'll tell it in the next episodes. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and let the truth spread everywhere.